Hello, this is Rachel again. I came across something very interesting in the October 2017 study edition of the Watchtower, and it's the article that's called "The Truth Brings Not Peace but a Sword." Now, in paragraph 12 of this article, the Watchtower makes a very dangerous statement, and it's dangerous for them. Let me read what it says here. It starts out saying, "Have empathy for unbelieving relatives. While we may be overjoyed about the Bible truths we have learned, our relatives may mistakenly believe that we have been tricked, or maybe brainwashed, or have become part of a cult. They may think that we no longer love them because we do not celebrate holidays with them. They may even fear for our eternal welfare. We should show empathy by trying to see things from their viewpoint and by listening carefully to discern their real concerns. The Apostle Paul endeavoured to understand people of all sorts in order to share the good news with them, and a similar approach can help us as well." So, okay, it says here that if witnesses have unbelieving relatives who say they've been tricked or have become part of a cult, then they should listen carefully to them. Okay, so an unbelieving relative who's going to suggest to a witness that they've been tricked, and brainwash is probably the word that would most likely be used, not the word tricked, or they have suggested that Jehovah's Witnesses are a cult. Where would they have got that information or that thinking? Not from talking to witnesses, would they? They've probably seen stuff written about witnesses online, maybe. Maybe from a apostate website. So really, this paragraph, if witnesses do what it says here, they will expose themselves to what the organisation calls apostate information. Although there's a bit of a problem here. On the one hand, it tells them to listen, but we know that witnesses are trained to close their ears off and shut down their brain as soon as they hear anything critical of the organisation. Because, as the organisation says, the source of that criticism is apostates. So I don't know how witnesses are going to actually listen carefully if that training kicks in and they shut off their cognitive abilities and just shut down. We do find too that not only former witnesses who speak out against the organisation are referred to as apostates, but generally just about anyone who has any kind of criticism regarding the organisation will be labelled or called an apostate. If just a member of the public was to bring up, for example, the Australian Royal Commission, the witness they're talking to will either accuse them of being an apostate, like, were you a witness? Are you disfellowshipped? Or they will say, where did you get this information? Was it from an apostate website? And they'll have to explain that an apostate is an opposer and that they make stuff up and that they've got a grudge, a chip on their shoulder, things like that. So, yeah, I just found this an interesting paragraph. What do you think about it? Do you think the Watchtower writers who wrote this are just very naive and think that perhaps the accusations, that Jehovah's Witnesses are a cult can be answered by the typical Jehovah's Witness? I mean, how would the conversation go, do you think, if a relative said, oh darling, look, I'm really worried about you getting involved with this group. we don't seem to see so much of you now, and you've really changed. You know, I've heard that this group is a cult. And okay, so the person is supposed to listen carefully. So they'd have to say, well, you know, why? It's not a cult, you know. Why do you think it's a cult? Well, you know, because you're prepared to follow the leaders no matter what they ask, and you even cast us aside. And I've heard that they do shunning and, oh, sorry, the TV's just popped on. Hang on. Bit of opera. Yes, where was I? Okay, so that person might go on to explain how the witnesses, the organisation, fits the criteria for a cult. And the witness is supposed to listen carefully. Yes, listen. So, I don't know if this is a blunder by the Watchtower writers. Like I said, whether they're just so naive that, you know, that of course it's not a cult, and it'd be easy to explain that it's not a cult. Or is there somebody awake in the writing department? I don't know. Sometimes they come out with things that you just think, huh? Yeah. Why did they say that? Unless there's someone awake, or, you know. Anyway, I really hope that Jehovah's Witnesses reading this paragraph really do apply what it says here, and to listen carefully to those that say that they're concerned that they've become tangled up with a cult, or that they've been brainwashed. So anyway, let me know what you think. Bye.